show going right now. And, I have a guest that we're going to be talking to. I want to introduce Danielle from the Conservation Department and Liz from the Sustainability Committee. And we're going to be talking about Tyngsborough, where we are and where we're going. And we're building a shop right now. We can talk about
We're a newly formed group. We were formally established in June. Steve had us on one when we were just getting started. We've had a couple of meetings now. We're doing the third meeting of the month at 6:30 in the Room 1 room. And we've had a couple of months to review the trash data and recycling data for the town. And what we found was Tyngsborough generates a lot of trash. The number that we report every year for Mass DEP is reported on this map of shame. And Tyngsborough is in the brightest, reddest color on this map of shame because we generate more than 2,200 pounds of solid waste every year per household. And it's a lot of trash. It's the highest category on this map of shame. So one of the things that the Sustainability Committee just did is we created a pretty ambitious goal for ourselves. We want to reduce the amount of solid waste that Tyngsborough creates by 30%. And we did some quick math, and it would save the town $80,000 a year just in the tipping fees alone without changing any contracts. We would immediately see a cost savings by throwing less away. So we have a couple of ways that we're going to do that. One is to clean up our recycling and be better recyclers overall. Another method that we would like to promote is the diversion of organics. So your food waste, making sure that you're not putting things that could otherwise be diverted for composting in your trash and composting them either in the backyard, encouraging residents to sign up for a curbside service, or ultimately creating a town-wide program where we could residents could bring their yard waste and their food waste for composting instead of sending it up to Haverhill at Covanta, where we actually burn all of our trash. So
we've come actually a long way since we've been starting recycling within town. Originally, we had the bins, and we were only able to recycle a few things, and then we got the larger totes, and it's just we can recycle everything. Remember, we had to do paper in one and plastic in the other one, and now we're able to do everything all in there at the same time. I'm sure there's lots of questions as far as what you can recycle as well. There's always those conversations, I'm sure, in many households. I know there is in mine. You have an empty package that you just finished. Can you recycle it, or do you throw it away? I have the little piece of paper on my refrigerator that tells what you can and when you can't, but there's a lot of gray areas that you're really not sure what you can do with anyway. So the fact that we can throw everything into one bin and move forward, that is always great, but we can even do better.
Right.
We're talking about composting.
Right. So for the recycling questions, there's a really great resource called Recycle Smart MA. It is a website and a program that Mass DEP sponsored with all of the state's recycling haulers.
I'm actually going to call that up while you're talking about it. Go ahead, continue going on.
So Recycle Smart MA, the primary function of this is to help eliminate a lot of the confusion with recycling in the state. They call it their Recyclopedia, and you can actually plug in any item that you have that you're unsure of. You can put it right in that search bar, and it will tell you what to do with that item. So maybe if you could type in that white search bar at the top.
Candle jar.
Candle jar, that's a great one.
I've always been recycling those. Turns out they might not be recyclable.
All right, we have candle jars glass. Does
Yes.
that
Yeah,
work?
click on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what we have here.
I haven't seen this website. It looks really neat.
Can I recycle this? It looks like it says that you need to put it in your trash bin.
Right.
Really? Okay.
Right, yeah. So
Okay.
this tool
That's
is for
really neat.
every curbside community in Massachusetts. So if in Tyngsborough, if you are on the municipal trash system, you are a curbside recycler, and these are the rules that pertain to what you can and can't put in your recycling bin.
Okay. So what do we do? Why don't we do one more, just for the fun of it?
All right.
What's the most complicated? What's the most mistakenly recycled item?
Pizza box.
Pizza box. All right, pizza box.
No, I don't know if that's true, but I heard that that's a big one.
Pizza box. Empty, no food.
All right.
All
So
right.
what are our options? What is I can't see it from
says
here.
a couple things here. It says, let's see. Can you see it now?
It's just small.
No? Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. So it says, put this item in your recycle bin, but then there's instructions. It says you need to put an empty, all capital letters, pizza box in the recycling bin. But it does say grease is okay.
Okay. See, I thought you had to rip off the bottom with
Yeah,
the
it
grease
says
on it.
grease
Yeah.
is okay. It says completely empty pizza box. Remove all food, pizza savers, pizza tables.
Yep, the
What's a
little,
pizza table?
that's the little plastic thing that sometimes is, they put it in the middle of the pizza to keep the lid from closing on it.
Oh, I know what that is. Okay. I don't get those in my places, I guess. but
Yeah, less fancy
Those
pizza.
are fancy pizza
Yeah.
places have the tables
Yeah.
built into the box. The liner and pizza savers should go in the trash. All right, so those things go in the trash, but the box itself
Yeah, the box can be
go in
recycled.
the
And if you're really, if you hear, oh my God, pizza boxes are recyclable, I don't believe you, you can also compost your pizza box. So what we do in my household actually is the greasiest part of the pizza box, I just put that right in my compost bin, and then the part of the pizza box that's not greasy, I put that in the recycling bin.
Okay.
Is a good
But
option.
according to this, you can
Yes.
recycle the whole
Yep.
thing.
According to Recycle Smart MA, right now they are accepting grease and all, but no
Perfect.
food. They don't want your
No
food.
food, no leftover cheese
Right.
or pepperonis. Make sure that's all out of there. I guess I should mention the website so people can save it on their computer. It is recyclesma.
RecycleSmartMA.gov.
Recyclesmartma.
That is really
Actually,
neat.
org.
Oh, I'm sorry, .org. And they have a Facebook page as well where they'll actually take pictures of recycling bins that are not right and post like, this is what's wrong with this recycling bin. Some of them are pretty funny. Like somebody tried to stuff an entire wheelchair in a recycling bin.
Oh, hey, it's
And it was
metal
like,
and
these can be
plastic.
reused,
Yeah.
but they don't belong in your recycling
Yep.
bin.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's a good account on Facebook to follow for tips and updates. And the Sustainability Committee actually just started their own group page for residents that have questions about recycling, that want to know more about how they can compost or how they can reduce their household waste. It's called Sustainable Tyngsborough on Facebook. You should be able to search it. We actually have over 100 members, and,
Oh,
and
wow,
the group's
that is
only
very
been
impressive.
it's been up for about a week, so we're excited. We've had some really great questions and comments, and anybody who is interested in reducing their waste, in improving the environment, or sustainability topics in general, we'd love to have them in the Sustainable Tyngsborough group.
Is it Tyngsborough spelt out or O-R-O?
ORO, I believe. Sustainable Tyngsborough.
And I'll just say, while he's pulling that up, from the Conservation Department perspective, we're here to support the Sustainability Committee in talking about, diverting waste. We're also looking at keeping waste out of our rivers and streams and out of our storm drains. And a lot of what the Conservation Department sees around town for dumping violations is people who don't have a spot to put their yard waste may be inadvertently dumping it into a wetland area, and that's not allowed. So we actually have a 30-foot no disturb around our wetlands in town, and we don't allow dumping on the storm drains either. And so we're here to support the Sustainability Committee in coming up with a place for residents to safely dispose of this material if they don't have a spot on their property. Not everyone might have the square footage to compost or the area on their lot.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a big problem. I mean, I live in a property that I have unused woods behind me. It's part of my property. It's not wetlands. It's just unused wood, so I push my leaves back there. But there's other people that are surrounded by roads, a lake,
Yep.
other houses.
Yep.
They want to clean up their yards. What do they do with
Where do
it?
they
Something
put it,
that's going
right.
to be easy, fast, inexpensive. And,
Exactly.
having that option. We do have that pickup day
Mm-hmm.
or a couple days during
Yes.
the fall, right?
Yes, I think there's four days. But I've had people ask me outside of that when I've asked them to remove their piles from the wetland, where am I going to put it?
Right.
And the place that we currently put them to, I've heard, charges approximately $15 a bag. They come and pick it up and take it away for you. But that's very expensive.
Sure.
And so a lot of people, especially in the residential 2 district, which is around a lot of the lakes, which has smaller lots, they just might not have a spot for that. Like you do with woods in the back. A lot of these are just houses
Right next to each other. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be really beneficial to be able to say, you need to remove this material. You can bring it to this local site and have a spot to put it.
Yeah, and I imagine companies,
Mm-hmm.
the people that do this for a living, landscapers, that money adds up. That's
Mhm.
money out of their pockets.
Right.
So if they can use that and bring it to a place that it's going to be reused
Mm-hmm.
in the future, I mean, everybody wins in that situation. And,
Mm-hmm.
so that'll be good. And then you were talking about something in the future for composting.
A local site, you mean, or
Yeah,
yeah? I'll let you
can we?
explain a little
Sure.
bit about that.
So our ultimate goal is to help people to reduce the amount of trash that they're sending to the curb every week, to save the town money, and to do the right thing for the environment. So organics in particular, food waste, yard waste, they really don't belong in the trash because they're a resource that is better served to be composted and turned into a nutrient-rich soil amendment that you could use on your lawn. It helps to increase the stormwater holding capacity for our soils.
Mm-hmm.
It helps with organic gardening. It helps with creating a beneficial area for soil microbes to grow. And there's really no downside to using compost on your property in a way to improve the natural environment. So what we ultimately hope to do is to create a site within town that residents could utilize as a new town service to bring their yard waste to. Hopefully we could enter into a public-private partnership where residents could also divert their food waste to a site like this. And then in exchange, they could go to the site to bring home finished compost to use on their property. Or some other municipally run sites, they also have wood chips available for residents to use for mulch. Or when the highway department or the DPW in some of these other towns has to clean up a big tree, they'll actually bring the tree to the site and residents can take that home for firewood. So it creates a way to keep resources. These really are resources. They're not waste until we waste them. Keep those resources in town and let residents utilize them however they see fit. Maybe they're going to burn that wood in their fireplace instead of paying for gas to heat their house, or they're going to utilize compost to enrich their garden soil instead of reaching for a chemical fertilizer.
Yeah, I mean, that seems a great idea. I mean, Tyngsborough is a farming community, and if we could utilize, what we have in the environment and put it right back into our own farms or own houses and whatever landscaping, it'll benefit everybody along the way, which is I guess the whole purpose of the whole thing, right?
Right.
There's many times now. I mean, you have people cut down trees, and then they shred the trees into mulch, and then you buy it again in the spring, and then you put it back down, and basically you're paying someone to cut down the trees, then you're paying for the same stuff again to put down for mulch afterwards. I mean, if we could keep it within our community and help the environment at the same time, I mean, it'll be great. And then the farms will be great too, because the vegetables and the fruits and vegetables, I'm sure, will thrive.
Right.
So, I mean,
Right.
it sounds like a great project. Is this something that you feel can be done sooner than later? Or
I think it's a couple of years out.
Okay.
There's a lot of pre-planning that goes with this. There's a lot of questions that we just don't have answers to right now. But Danielle has been fantastic. We've also worked with Eric Salerno, the town planner,
Okay.
to put some things in place to try to explore this as an option and see if it's something that we can bring as a new town service for residents.
Do we want to mention that for people watching, you may see in the future a bylaw change proposed in order to allow composting piles in town, because right now it's kind of a gray area, it sounds like.
Right. So unfortunately, the way our bylaws are written today is there's a definition for solid waste disposal. And part of that definition includes the words composting plant as part of the definition. So that is a little bit problematic for us, because I don't believe that composting, and solid waste like landfill are really very related at all. And
Yeah, they had two different purposes,
Right.
two different directions altogether.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
right, so somewhere along the line, composting plant got sandwiched into this definition of what is solid waste disposal.
Okay.
And that creates a problem for us when we go to establish something like a compost facility for residents because it's technically prohibited by our bylaws. So we need to eliminate those two words, composting plant, in the definition. And then we'd like to create some new definitions around what is a community composting facility and what would that look like in Tyngsborough, so that we create a new definition and we make it an allowable use. But we also take into account, there's been some concerns already about, well, what if it smells? What if it's not pretty to look at? So we can really control the conversation on that and create a definition to bring to town meeting that would allow community composting for residents to benefit from, but that we can all agree is a benefit and not a detriment to our town.
Yeah, everybody would have to be on board for that. Are there any other cities or towns have done this already that we can use for an example?
Yeah, oh yeah. So Dracut, Groton, they both have municipally run compost facilities where residents can bring their yard waste.
Really?
And then Manchester by the Sea has a facility that is owned by the town, and it's a public-private partnership with Black Earth Compost. And Black Earth manages the site for the town.
Black Earth is a company that does this.
Yep, it's a
Okay.
private composter
Okay.
that manages the site for the town of Manchester by the Sea. So we're really modeling the program that we'd like to produce against this Manchester by the Sea facility. And I actually have the opportunity in a couple of weeks to go tour it and see how it runs.
Well,
So
that'll
that
be great if you could. I don't know if you can take some. I don't know if it's you can take videos or little
That'd be
snapshots
cool.
here and there. That
Yeah.
would be a nice little follow up and say, this is what this is what this company does and the benefits of how we could bring it back here. I mean, just a little thought. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds pretty exciting. Knowing that you're moving forward in this direction, or like to move forward in this direction. You get to see firsthand what happens behind the scenes that people usually don't see.
Yeah, so that's our goal, and I'm really excited to see it, to smell it, to what does it look like, what surrounds this site, so that we can take all of the best parts of what they are doing and bring that back to Tyngsborough for the residents to decide if this is something that they'd like to have in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to jump in, how it will work for residents who want to participate in the bylaw is any bylaw change does require a public hearing, which is usually done at the planning board meeting. So that's open to the public to come and provide comments about the bylaw. And I can give an example just from solar bylaw changes that a lot of towns have done. And that's something where solar has to be allowed. It can't be unreasonably regulated because that's what the state says. But your town can put restrictions on it that fit your town. So I know in Dunstable, for example, I believe they doubled the buffer that would be needed between a solar field and the property line. So those are the types of comments that residents could bring to the public hearing for how they feel that it could be shaped in Tyngsborough and how they feel comfortable seeing the site. So maybe the buffer's a little bit different, or plantings are required, or the entrance is stabilized in a certain way, and that's all information that we can take at a public hearing and then incorporate those changes, and then it comes back to town meeting with the residents, changes incorporated if they make sense for the bylaw.
Okay, so there's obviously a process to take to get to that point.
Right.
But looking at it, from the sky down and looking at the details, it looks pretty positive.
Yeah.
Don't really see too many negatives about it. The only thing that I could see would be a change in habits of how people contribute. I mean, I remember growing up, my grandmother, all right, Italian grandmother had a farm, not a farm, she lived in Somerville, all right, and she had a garden in the backyard, ginormous garden, amazing. But she composted, and this was back in the day, and in the ground, she had this well, if you will, in the ground, and they threw all of their waste, their food waste, in that ground. It just, I don't know how it did it, but just it composted it, and they put it back in the garden, and it is unbelievable the food that she makes based on, the food that she just took out of the garden.
Wow.
And, that's just a small example. Bringing it to today, doing it on a larger scale, I would just imagine it would be a great thing, but again, people would need to change their mindset as
Right.
far as, okay, now I have to put trash in this bin, I could be recycling in this bin.
Mm-hmm.
I can even put pizza boxes now.
Right.
And now, are we going to get a potential third bin for food waste? And then all those questions as
Mhm.
far as, individually, what kind of smells is that going to cause at your house?
Right.
Animals, is it going to attract animals? Is you need a special bin, and so it takes a little due diligence on the public's part
Mhm.
Right.
in order to get the effective result at the end. So again, questions
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I'm sure that you're going to
And
be
we
working
love
on.
the questions.
Yeah.
So there's a poll up on our sustainability page on the town website right now.
Okay.
Residents can navigate to the sustainability committee on the town website, scroll down, and there's a link to take the poll. It's just a couple of questions to gauge resident interest in either a yard waste or a food waste facility or both.
Mhm.
And then we also left our third question is very open-ended. It's, do you have any other comments or questions? And we'd really like to hear them. So if you think this is a great idea, if you think this is a terrible idea, if you want to see something else, we'd love to hear about it. We want to engage residents in the process, and we're definitely not looking to throw something at residents that they're not interested in doing.
Mhm.
All right, I'm on the website right now.
Okay.
I'm on the town website. I'm on the Sustainability Committee page. All right, where am I looking? I see all the board members.
Yep, so go ahead and scroll down, and I think it's under where it says news,
News and updates, yep.
and I think is it that line right there?
It says, Sustainability Committee invites you to share your feedback, take a short survey. All right, so I'm going to click there.
Yep, click survey.
Okay, there it
There
is.
you go.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Would you be interested in yard waste composting facility in Tyngsborough? Yes or no? Would you be interested in food composting program? Yes or no? And that's it, just two questions. Any questions or comments for the Sustainability Committee? Suggestions you can put down below. So
Yep.
just see those two things there. And you mentioned this to me before we went on camera, and my reaction was they're simple yes or no questions, but I would imagine everyone would need to give it a lot of thought before they actually answered yes or no, because the politically correct thing to answer would be, yes, of course, I would love to do that. But in reality, would you?
Right.
Right. So you almost need a maybe.
A
maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe we should add
Maybe
add that.
I would consider it. Maybe
Yeah.
it might be a yes.
Yeah.
I'd consider it with more information.
Right, right.
Or
yeah.
no, absolutely not.
So you could certainly put that in the third question, the
Mhm.
open-ended question. Maybe just
there you
put
go.
in whatever you want, and then leave us
Right.
some comments.
Mhm.
Right.
Or we've had some residents join in on our meetings. So we meet the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30.
Third two.
And we've already had people come, which is great because we
that's awesome.
really appreciate the feedback, and we want to hear what residents would like to see in their town,
Mhm.
what's important to them.
No, that's great.
One thing just to mention is the Board of Health does have, I believe, composting bins now at a small scale if people do want to get started. I know a lot, myself and a lot of people I know already have a small bin in the house, and we just bring it out every other day or every day to our small black composting bin. And I believe you can purchase those through the
Yep.
Board of
Yep,
Health
they're
if you.
$25. They're very
It's
inexpensive.
discounted, right? Yeah. And it's just like a circular black bin, and you turn it over yourself in your yard, and you can do your own ratio of food waste to yard waste and create your own compost. So,
I imagine maybe it's maybe a little intimidating for some.
mhm.
Some that aren't used to even going that path.
Right,
But from what I understand, it is pretty simple.
right.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to get started because it's a very small, inexpensive home system that you can just try out for
Yeah.
a season and see if you
And
if
just
you
see
like
what
it.
happens, see what
Yeah.
magic forms inside this
Right.
bin.
Yeah.
Kind of like your grandmother's hole in the ground,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I've seen it written a couple of times, compost happens.
Mhm.
And it really does. Like, it will take, if you turn it over regularly, you can have finished compost in 6 or 8 months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you don't do any of that, you'll still get finished compost. It might take you 2 years,
Mhm.
but eventually you'll start with food waste and leaves,
Mhm.
and you'll end with really great garden soil.
Mhm.
So, compost does happen. It just depends on the rate that you want it to happen. And then for some people who don't want anything to do with that, but maybe they don't want to put their organics in the trash, there's 2 companies that service the town of Tyngsborough. Offbeat Compost is based in Lowell. And then there's also City Compost. I think they're based in either Lunenburg or Fitchburg.
Mhm.
They'll come for a fee and pick up your food waste curbside.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, so
Yep. So if you
there's opportunities there.
if you don't want to be involved with it at all, you can source it out to one of these curbside companies, and they take everything. They take bones, they take meat, dairy, the type of stuff that normally attracts animals in your backyard pile. Because it's a commercial composting facility, they can accept that type of material because they're not just leaving it in a hole in the ground. They're actually maintaining the pile in a way that breaks down much more quickly.
Yeah, that's real important. And a lot of that stuff that you just mentioned, you can't put in your garbage disposal.
Right.
You're going to throw it away anyway, so might as well throw it away in a place where it can be used. I mean, do you think they would have anything that would, you know how recycling is just throw everything into one bin and it gets sorted out? Do you think they would eventually have a trash recycling, everything in there, and then they sort out the food in the trash? And I'm just thinking, people like the easy route.
Yeah.
And you know, that would be nice if they could
I know.
kind of sort it
Yeah,
out.
I was curious about that because a few times when I have stayed on the Cape for the summer, and I haven't looked into this, but I was told that the recycle and trash goes into the same can and then they sort it out at the facility.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about the food, but I guess you never know what might be possible.
I had read some other towns, I think it was like Utah or Colorado, they tried out a situation where they had a specific type of bag, and you could put your food waste in this durable, rugged bag and throw it into your trash, and then they would just pull those bags out of the trash stream,
Oh,
like a
okay. That's
person
interesting.
with gloves on
Yeah.
would pull, the
Yeah.
trash truck would dump on the conveyor belt, they'd pull the food waste out and then compost it, and it works for them. I think they've tried to replicate it in a couple other places, and it didn't work quite so well. But source separated is definitely the best way to go. If you can
Oh, of course, yeah.
to a certain extent, recycling is a victim of, we went to this all-in-one bin thing, and it kind of was the catalyst for the problems we're seeing now with recycling contamination. So I know today the haulers that are doing compost on a commercial scale, they're really looking for contaminant-free, source-separated organics, and that's how they run their business. Because
the more that we do, the easier it is on the other end.
right.
And time is money, and that's what's going to come down to is it feasible? Of course, the environment, there's no price. Environment is priceless, so you got to do what you do to save the environment, of course. But it comes down to the money as well. You have a company that does that food composting. That is their business, and so someone has to pay them.
Right.
And so it all trickles down eventually to, how much it costs, how much we're going to save, how much is it worth, that good stuff.
Well, and one other thing to mention is that recently in Massachusetts, they banned food waste from the waste stream for generators. I believe it's more than 2,000 pounds a
Yeah,
day.
right now it's 2,000 pounds a week.
A week, okay.
But Mass DEP is actually working on their solid waste master plan.
Excuse me, what is 2,000 pounds a week?
If you generate that amount of food waste,
Yeah.
you cannot throw it into the trash. You must divert it. And so I've heard that DEP is looking at different restrictions for lower levels of waste as well. So it's not infeasible to think that someday there's going to be a regulation that we can't just put in the trash because we're running out of places to put this.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's forward thinking to already have this in place before regulations might change. So right now, larger schools, restaurants, people who generate a lot of food waste, they must set up a system to have it sent somewhere
Right.
else.
Right.
Is that, so that's in process right now, any restaurants?
So that's in
Yes.
place,
Yep. And they are lowering it. So the draft version of this next solid waste master plan is out, and it includes anybody who produces now 1,000 pounds a week, so half a ton a week of food waste, is going to have to divert it for either composting or anaerobic digestion. They will not be allowed to put it in the trash.
Wow.
So that might pick up more local schools, because I had heard in the last round, maybe Lowell High School was one of the only local high schools that fell into the 2,000.
Yeah.
But now with it being lowered, there could be many other schools that are in that threshold.
Sure.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot more school systems get picked up when they lower the threshold. Also things like nursing homes and a lot of restaurants. So it's I think restaurants are probably going to be hit the hardest when we go to this food waste ban.
Tyngsborough has a lot of restaurants.
Yes.
And
Yep.
yeah, that's something to consider for them too.
Yeah, so these businesses that do food waste diversion, they are looking for growth. And if they can be a good partner and generate some tax revenue for the town, that's something that we badly need here as well is
Sure.
new tax revenue generators.
Absolutely.
So I think, we're going to put a lot of thought behind how can we bring this as a permissible use in Tyngsborough and really make it work for us. The economics component, the environmental component, and then also the cost savings to the residents because we won't be paying Republic Services to burn our food waste in the incinerator anymore.
Nice.
So just one last push from conservation. You'll probably see, the residents will hopefully see some of our outreach materials this year under our new stormwater permit that we're falling under for EPA. We have to do outreach every year on things such as picking up your dog waste and properly disposing of your yard waste. And so we're working on a couple brochures and mailers and flyers that we'll be distributing at the health fair. We were at the block party events throughout town and hopefully also a few mailers. So keep your eyes out for that, and it will, outline how to properly dispose of everything that we're talking about today.
That's great. So, just to wrap things up, we should be looking for that information. Also, in the upcoming years, hopefully a local composting facility would be a food composting facility. That'd be good. If somebody wants to be involved with the committee, do you accept new volunteers or?
Absolutely. So the easiest way to get involved is that Sustainable Tyngsborough group. Any resident can join it. Really, anybody can join it. Or you
On
can
Facebook.
on Facebook.
Okay.
Yep. Or you can join us for one of our meetings. And we're super informal. We're happy to have anybody's input and feedback at our meetings on the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30.
Third Tuesday of the month, right here in
Yep.
Town Hall.
Yep, meeting room one.
Got it.
Are they usually
Okay.
filmed, or in case
They
people can't watch?
are filmed.
I mean,
they're,
can't come?
they're not live.
Okay.
Because there's not live capability in that room.
Okay.
But they're available on the Meetings on Demand page,
Mhm.
so residents can watch. We've had 4 meetings so far, so they can tune into any of our previous meetings or any of our upcoming meetings as well.
That's awesome. All right, great. Well, thank you for coming out, and I've learned so much. I'm excited about recycling pizza boxes right now. to be
Excellent,
honest with you.
excellent.
So, but that what was that website again? Just so people know.
RecycleSmartMA.org.
Org. Okay, got to bookmark that. Because
Yeah.
that'd be fun for the kids too. Like, okay, find something that
Right.
isn't recyclable or
Yep.
is recyclable, and kind of go from there. Make it a little game and
Yeah.
help out the environment at the same
Yeah,
time.
there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much
Great.
for coming down.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thank you.
Steve.
All right, have a great day.
Okay,
Bye.
you too.
All right, now before we wrap things up, I just want to say a few things because I am part of the Tyngsborough basketball group, and we have a deadline coming up, and I just wanted to mention a few items that are going on for Tyngsborough basketball. First and foremost, coming up November 2nd and 3rd, I'm going to kind of hold that up. We have our sponsor, Dick's Sporting Goods, up at DW Highway and Mall. They're having a youth basketball appreciation weekend, November 2nd and 3rd. This is on the youth basketball Facebook page. You can print it, share it, screenshot it, whatever you'd like to do. It's 20% off anything in the store. And if you use this coupon, the more we use it, the more benefit that the youth basketball program will have from Dick's. They've been a great sponsorship, giving us all kinds of supplies to keep the program going. So please use that, share it. And inside tip, it's not on the Facebook page yet, but there's going to be a bonus one that's coming up the following weekend as well, November 9th and 10th. So Dick's Sporting Goods has been great for us, so let's take care of them as well. Get you all your supplies for the winter season. And a few things to mention as well. Registration is closing on November 1st, which is next Friday. So make sure you've signed up. We have all different types of programs. Little All-Stars program, which is great for the little preschool and kindergarten kids. It's an amazing program. It's only $5 for 6 weeks of fun-filled. It's like a huge play date with basketballs and miniature basketball nets, and the kids have a blast. So that's on Monday evenings starting the beginning of December. So make sure you sign up for that. If you have little kids moving up the ladder a little bit. We have an instructional basketball program. That's exactly what it is. Taking the kids to the next level. Usually grades 1 and 2. It's perfect for them, and that is on Saturday mornings at Tyngsborough Elementary School. That starts again at the beginning of December as well. You can sign up for that all on tyngsboroughRec.com. Our rec league, usually for grades 3 through 8 that just want to play, just want to have fun and play. We have one practice a week and then one Sunday game. It is a lot of fun. There's a boy and girl division, and you don't have to be a superstar. If you just want to play around, learn some skills, and get some exercise, it's a great program. It's $90 for the entire season, and it goes till like March. It's a lot of fun, and again, that registration goes until November 1st. If you register after November 1st for a few days, there is a late fee, so save yourself some money. Register before then. And travel teams, they're already going on. And we've got a lot of travel teams playing. It is a great program, and I want to leave a shout out to all the volunteers, all the coaches that stepped up to help the kids, because you can't have a team without a coach, and we got a lot of great people that stepped up to do that. For any of these, if you do want to help out, we do have some openings available for any other people that would like to volunteer, coach, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, whatever you'd like to do. Just reach out to us. We're on Facebook, so make sure you tag on to Facebook. It's Tyngsborough Youth Basketball, spelt the short way, Tyngsborough ORO Youth Basketball, right in on Facebook. I'm the administrator for that, so I keep putting as much information as I can out there for you guys, so make sure you tune into that to keep on what's going on. For the travel kids, one of the benefits of being on the travel teams is we have skills nights. So we have Coach Jeff Nelson. He's coming in on Friday, November 8th. Girls session is from 6 to 7, and the boys section is from 7 to 8. That's going to be going on for skills night. That's just for travel team players, but that's open to each and every travel team player, and there's no cost to that. It's part of your registration fee. And let's see, we got an evaluation night for the rec teams. Evaluation night is exactly that. Everyone makes a team on the rec leagues. We just try to balance the teams out the best we can, so it's a nice even game from Sunday to Sunday as they are playing, and that evaluation day is going to be November 16th. All that information is an event listed on the Tyngsborough Youth Basketball Facebook page. But just a quick go through it. Girls, grades 3 through 8, it's 10 to 11 in the morning. Boys, 11 to 12. Grades 3 through 5, and boys 6 through 8, 12 to 1. And that's going on November 16th. And just a little heads up, on January 12th, it's going to be our youth basketball picture day, so make sure you get your haircuts and practice your smiles for that day. And that is about it. I'm going to sign off. Thanks for hanging out with us. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm going to sign